My husband cheated with my son's 18-year-old girlfriend, and the discovery of his secrets shattered my world completely. I'm sharing this story using different names to protect everyone's privacy. I'm Evelyn Parker, 42, and until recently, I divided my time between being a part-time real estate agent and managing our home. My husband, Marcus Bennett, 49, is a vice president at an investment advisory firm. We've been married for nearly 20 years, building what I thought was a stable life with our two children, Nathan, our 18-year-old senior at Riverside Prep, and Rachel, our talented 15-year-old who spends most of her free time creating art. The relationship with Marcus had grown distant over the years. His demanding work schedule kept him away more and more, and I noticed his subtle criticisms about my appearance becoming more frequent. Looking back, I should have seen the signs when I gave up my nursing career 10 years ago at his insistence to become a full-time housewife. It wasn't until 2 years ago that I finally got my real estate license, trying to reclaim a piece of my identity. Nathan has been dating Isabella Romano, or Bella as everyone calls her, since they met in middle school. She attends St. Mary's Catholic School for Girls now, while Nathan stays at Riverside Prep, but their relationship remains strong despite attending different schools. Bella became like family to us, which makes this betrayal even more devastating. She comes from a single-parent household, and I often felt protective of her, wanting to provide the stable family environment she lacked at home. Last week, everything changed when Marcus asked me to help with his laptop. He claimed it was running slowly and needed some basic maintenance. As I was clearing out old files, I accidentally opened a message thread between him and Bella. The words I saw made my blood run cold. "Missing your special sausage daddy," followed by a string of suggestive emojis. My hands started trembling as I stared at the screen, trying to convince myself this wasn't real. I spent the entire day in a daze, telling myself I must have misread it. But I couldn't shake the sick feeling in my stomach. Over the next few days, I discovered more. A folder filled with BDSM content, saved photos from Bella's Instagram account, and lengthy call logs between them. Even though the photos were innocent enough, Bella in her school uniform, at various school events, the context made my skin crawl. The fact that my husband had specifically saved these images felt predatory and wrong. While organizing his computer files, I found a pattern. The saved photos started increasing around the time Bella turned 18, 5 months ago. But something about the timeline felt off. Marcus had been acting strangely long before that, particularly when Bella was around. The pieces were starting to fit together in a horrifying way. Later that evening, as I sat in our living room, staring at our family photos on the wall, I couldn't reconcile the smiling man in those pictures with what I'd discovered. The Marcus I married, the father of my children, seemed like a stranger now. I found myself questioning everything, wondering how I could have been so blind. Nathan's graduation photo caught my eye, him standing proudly in his baseball uniform, Bella by his side, and Marcus beaming at them both. The memory of that day now felt tainted, corrupted by the knowledge of what was really going on. Discovery details. The messages I found between them made me physically ill. My hands shook as I scrolled through their conversation history, each message feeling like a knife twisting deeper into my heart. Marcus had taken every insecurity I'd ever confided in him and turned them into entertainment for himself and Bella. "You should have seen what your mom tried to wear to the dinner party," he'd written. Like a sausage bursting out of its casing. Bella had responded with laughing emojis, adding, "OMG, she's so out of touch." They mocked everything about me. My attempts to restart my career in real estate, my gardening hobby, even the way I spoke at family dinners. "At least you're exciting," Marcus had written to her. "Living with her is like watching paint dry." Bella's response was quick. "You deserve someone who can keep up with you." Past month reflections. Looking back, there were signs I'd chosen to ignore. Last month, I found unfamiliar lingerie in our bedroom. Definitely not mine or Rachel's. I forced myself to believe it was somehow misplaced laundry, even though that made no sense. The rational part of my brain was screaming at me, but I pushed the thoughts away, not wanting to face what was becoming increasingly obvious. My nursing background taught me to trust patterns, to look for recurring symptoms. And now, reviewing Marcus's behavior, I could see the pattern clearly. His unusual interest in Bella had started long before her 18th birthday 5 months ago. The way he'd position himself during family gatherings, always finding reasons to be where she was. How he'd offer to drive her home from our house, insisting it was safer than letting her walk. Current situation. Now I'm paralyzed with the weight of this knowledge. Nathan adores Bella. She's his first love, the girl he talks about taking to prom, the one he's planning a future with. How do I tell my son that while he was planning their future, his girlfriend was sending suggestive messages to his father? That the man he looked up to, who taught him about respect and integrity, was grooming and manipulating his girlfriend? Rachel has been watching me closely these past few days, her artist's eye missing nothing. This morning, she left a sketch on my desk, a broken vase with flowers still trying to stand upright. Sometimes I think she sees more than she lets on. She's been unusually quiet whenever Marcus is around, and now I wonder what she might have noticed with her keen sense of observation. My real estate clients often tell me I'm good at spotting problems in houses that others miss. How ironic that I missed the rot in my own home for so long. The thought of confronting Marcus terrifies me, not just because of what he's done, but because of the domino effect this will have on our entire family. Every time I think about telling Nathan, my heart feels like it's being crushed in a vice. I'm sharing this not for sympathy, but because I need to break free from the suffocating silence. I need to know if other mothers have faced something this devastating and how they found the strength to move forward. How do you tell your child something that you know will break their heart? Update: 1 week later. Through my brother, I connected with Alexandra Wright, a tough-as-nails lawyer who specializes in family law. Under her guidance, I began methodically gathering evidence. The iCloud backup revealed 3 months of conversations between Marcus and Bella, a mix of flirtatious messages and explicit content that made my stomach turn each time I reviewed them. Marcus's call history showed hours-long conversations with Bella, often late at night. His dating app profiles were even more disturbing, all specifically filtered to show women between 18 to 22. The computer files I copied revealed his activity on sex chat rooms and a substantial monthly spending on various adult content websites. Hidden in our bedroom closet, I found a collection of items that made my blood run cold: handcuffs, blindfolds, and what appeared to be a school uniform and French-maid costume. At my brother's house, after collecting the evidence, I picked up Nathan and Rachel from their schools. The drive to my brother's house was tense. They could sense something was wrong from my white-knuckled grip on the steering wheel and the unusual midday pickup. Once we arrived, I sat them down in my brother's living room, my hands trembling as I tried to find the right words. "There's something I need to tell you both," I started, my voice barely above a whisper. As I revealed everything, Rachel's artistic hands clenched into tight fists, her knuckles turning white. Nathan sat unnaturally still, his face becoming more pale with each word. What surprised me was Rachel's reaction. Her anger burned hotter than Nathan's, years of subtle observations suddenly clicking into place. Meeting with Bella's mother. Later that day, I met with Maria Romano, Bella's mother. As I shared the evidence, her face crumpled with a pain I recognized all too well. She immediately confiscated Bella's phone, discovering the full extent of the messages. What we found was heartbreaking. Bella's responses to Marcus showed clear signs of manipulation and grooming. He understands me like no one else does, Bella had written to a friend. He says I'm mature for my age, that I'm special. Her mother told me through tears that when confronted, Bella broke down sobbing but insisted that she and Marcus were in love. Her words echoed with a naive conviction that made my heart ache, both for her manipulation and for my son's inevitable heartbreak. The Zoom confrontation. When I finally confronted Marcus over Zoom, my brother insisted on being in the room with me. The moment Marcus's face appeared on screen, I knew I was seeing his true self for the first time. His usual polished appearance was gone. His face was flushed, hair disheveled, eyes wild with a panic I'd never seen before. Context, he practically shouted before I could speak. You don't understand the context. His voice carried a frantic edge that sent chills down my spine. As I tried to discuss the situation calmly, his behavior became increasingly erratic. His hands shook violently as he shuffled papers on his desk, his face turning an alarming shade of red. When I mentioned the evidence, he exploded. None of that happened. You're making things up. The camera shook as he slammed his fist on the desk. His eyes held a dangerous gleam that made me grateful for the digital distance between us. You have no right to take my kids away from me, he snarled, his composure completely shattered. The man on my screen was a stranger, volatile, unhinged, and potentially dangerous. I ended the call mid-rant, my hands shaking as I immediately called my lawyer. Alexandra didn't hesitate. She began filing for temporary sole custody of Rachel and a restraining order that same day. Current situation. 1 week after confrontation. Rachel's anger has been the most visceral of all our reactions. As an artist, she processes emotions through her sketchbook, and lately, its pages have been filled with dark, angular shapes and torn paper collages. She's begun recalling moments with her father that now take on a sinister meaning. The way he'd linger when her friends visited, his comments about their clothing, how he'd position himself to watch them during sleepovers. Nathan has been handling this with a maturity that both makes me proud and breaks my heart. He's scheduled appointments with a therapist, showing a level-headed approach to processing this trauma. How are you holding up, Mom? He asks daily, his voice carrying a weight no 18-year-old should have to bear. I can see him struggling to balance his role as my son with an instinct to be the man of the house now. At the medical center, both Nathan and I got tested for STDs, a precaution that felt surreal but necessary given Marcus's dating app history. The clinic's fluorescent lights made everything feel harsh and clinical as we waited for our rapid test results. So far, we're both clear, though we'll have more comprehensive results in a few days. Current updates. We're still staying at my brother's house, which has become our sanctuary. His security system and deadbolt locks provide a sense of safety we desperately need right now. Marcus calls my cell phone multiple times daily, calls I refuse to answer. All communication now goes through Alexandra, my lawyer. Regarding Bella, Maria, Bella's mother, keeps me updated on her daughter's situation, though each update brings fresh pain. Bella has been sneaking out at night, convinced that she and Marcus share a special love that others just don't understand. Despite being shown evidence of Marcus's dating profiles and multiple affairs, she insists I've fabricated everything out of jealousy. Everyone's just mad because I found a real man, Bella reportedly told her mother. She believes she takes better care of Marcus than I ever did. Words that echo the manipulative messages I found in their conversations. Her mother's voice trembles with exhaustion when she calls, trapped in an impossible situation with an 18-year-old who believes she's old enough to make her own decisions. Legal proceedings. The divorce proceedings are underway, and I've received temporary custody of Rachel along with a protective order against Marcus. He's required to pay temporary child support, though I suspect this is just the beginning of a long legal battle. My lawyer assures me that the evidence we've gathered is substantial and will likely have serious consequences for Marcus beyond just our divorce. Looking forward. Through all of this, I'm beginning to recognize the woman I used to be, the nurse who trusted her instincts, the mother who would do anything to protect her children. Years of Marcus's subtle manipulation had dimmed that part of me, but it never completely disappeared. Rachel has started suggesting names for apartments she's found online, and Nathan has been researching universities closer to home, both of them already planning our new life together. Every day brings new challenges, but also new strengths. The support from my brother and his wife, the resilience of my children, and even the messages from strangers who've heard our story, all of it reminds me that while our family has been fractured, we haven't been broken. We're rebuilding, piece by piece, day by day. Update April 8, 2024. The support from this community continues to overwhelm me. Some people have suggested my story must be fake, a reaction that, oddly, provides comfort. Their disbelief validates how surreal this all feels, even to me. I wish it were fiction. I've spent so much time focusing on others' feelings that I've barely processed my own. My emotions swing between rage and numbness like a pendulum. Security measures. We remain secure at my brother's house, which has become our fortress. Marcus's daily calls to my cell phone go unanswered. All communication now flows strictly through Alexandra. His persistence frightens me, but my brother's comprehensive security system helps us sleep at night. The deadbolts, alarm system, and security cameras provide a shield against the chaos outside. Medical updates. Both Nathan and I received our comprehensive test results. Everything came back clear. It's one small relief in this storm of uncertainty. Nathan's first therapy session is scheduled for next week, a step I'm incredibly grateful for. He needs a professional space to unpack this trauma, someone who can help him navigate the betrayal from both his father and his first love. Nathan's situation. Watching Nathan process, this has been heart-wrenching. He carries himself with a composure that seems beyond his years. But I catch moments when his guard drops, a flash of pain in his eyes when he sees a couple walking hand in hand, or how he deletes photos from his phone with trembling fingers. I don't have anything to say to him right now, he says whenever Marcus is mentioned, his voice carefully neutral, but his hands clenched tight. Rachel's processing. Rachel has been investigating her own suspicions, reaching out to her friends about past interactions with her father. Their responses confirmed her worst fears, stories of uncomfortable stares, lingering presence, and inappropriate comments about their clothing. One friend described how Marcus would strategically position himself to watch them, asking probing questions about their social status and popularity at school. Each revelation adds another layer to Rachel's artwork, which has become increasingly abstract and dark. The Bella situation. The situation with Bella has deteriorated further. After initially ghosting her when everything exploded, Marcus has resumed contact. She's been sneaking out to meet him, defying her mother's attempts at intervention. "I'm 18 and an adult," she declares, wielding her legal age like a shield. Her mother calls me regularly, voice heavy with exhaustion, describing how she wakes at 3 a.m. to find Bella's room empty. Maria fears that enforcing stricter rules might push Bella completely into Marcus's arms. Bella remains convinced they share a special love, dismissing evidence of his dating profiles as my fabrications. She views herself as more mature, more understanding of Marcus's needs. Classic signs of his manipulation that break my heart all over again. Legal progress. The divorce proceedings continue to move forward. While I can't share specific details, I can say that the evidence against Marcus is substantial and will likely have lasting consequences. Alexandra assures me that justice will come, though the path might be longer than we'd like. Looking forward. Each day brings new challenges, but also new discoveries of strength I didn't know I had. The Evelyn who doubted herself is slowly being replaced by someone stronger, someone who refuses to let her children's future be defined by their father's actions. My brother and his wife have shown us what a healthy marriage looks like, giving us hope for healing and renewal. Through all of this, I've learned that family isn't just about blood or marriage. It's about who stands with you when the world falls apart. Right now, our family might look different than I imagined, but it's real, it's strong, and it's ours. We're moving forward, one day at a time, rebuilding our lives on a foundation of truth and trust.